So now we can take a look at factorization by taking out common factors. Let's say when we have a group of polynomial terms like this, 18x cubed minus 12xy plus 24x, we first need to figure out what is the common factor that we can take out. So all these three terms, the HCF is 6x. So when we take out 6x, we need to think about how much we should multiply with 6x in order to get back to the original number and term. So it should be 6x times 3x squared is 18x cubed, and 6x times minus 2y is minus 12xy, and 6x times 4 is 24x. That's why we have this result after factorization. And similarly, in example 2, we can see that all these three terms, the common factor should be 9ab, because some of them have a squared b squared, some of them have a squared b, and one is ab squared. So the only common thing we have is 9ab. And then after taking out 9ab, we need to consider how much we should multiply 9ab with in order to get back to the original number and terms. So 9ab times 3ab gives 27a squared b squared, and so forth. Here it should give minus 4b and then plus 5a times 9ab would give 45a squared b. So that's why this is the final answer. And then we can take a look at another type of examples. Let's say from this statement, we can see quite clearly the common factor should be a minus b. It's a little bit different from the previous two examples, in which we still need to figure out what should be the common factor. But here it's quite clear. It's already separate from the others. And then we can just simply take out a minus b as the factor, and then all the rest will be in another bracket. And then after simplifying, it would give xa minus 3. So this is the final answer. And in example 4, we also can quite clearly see that there are two brackets which are quite similar. But the only difference is that the order is different. One is x minus 4, another is 4 minus x. So what should we do? The common method is that we should take out one minus sign from this bracket in order to change the order of the two items. By taking one minus sign from here, we can add up with this minus sign to become plus, and then the order will become x minus 4. Because the minus x, after we take out the minus sign, it will become plus x, but the plus 4 originally is a plus. After taking out one minus, we should give it a minus sign in order to add up to a plus sign. That's it. And then here, both brackets are consistent, and then we can take out x minus 4 as the common factor, and then all the rest is in another bracket. And this is the final answer. And then let's take a look at some exercise. Here, you can pause the video and take some time to figure out what should be the steps. And then we can check the answer later. So I guess you have already checked with your steps, and then we can take a look at the answers. From the first question, we can see that quite obvious there are two brackets b plus c are obviously the common factor. So we can just take out b plus c, and then all the rest will be in another bracket. So minus 2 plus 5 is plus 3. So this should be the final answer. We are still tackling questions related to factorization by taking out common factor. So we always need to spot which one is the common factor. For the next question, question 2, quite obvious, x plus 3y should be the common one. So we can just simply take out the x plus 3y, and then all the rest would be in another bracket. But the only thing is that we should be careful about the minus sign of 2m minus 5 and a minus bracket m minus 1. Because we all know that minus 1 times minus 1 is plus 1. So minus and minus would give a plus sign. So here we would gather up 2m minus m, and then minus 5 minus minus 1 is plus 1. So the final answer should be this one. Just after simplifying, it should give this final answer. And another 2 questions. Again, you can pause the video and check with your own answer first. So I guess you have already checked your answer. So we can see the answer whether it is consistent. So here it's obvious that the common factor is p plus q, and all the rest we just simplify. But here there's 5 and 10 items, and it is not the simplest form. So it's quite obvious that we can still factorize it by taking out one common factor is 5, and we can put it at the front. It should be 5 times p plus q and then m minus 2n. And for question 4 is a little bit complicated, but not really so hard. There are 2 brackets which are similar, but one bracket has an index 2, another is only having an index 1. So what should we do? When considering the common factor, we should consider the item that only both of them have in common. So we can only take out 7bn minus 3a. But still, here there is some tricky thing, is that 3a minus 7b, the order is different from 7b minus 3a. So again, we can use the usual method by taking out one minus sign from here. It would give a plus sign at the front. And then the order will be changed. After taking out the minus sign, the minus 3a would become plus 3a at the front. And the plus 7b would become minus 7b because one of the minus sign is taken out. So now 2 brackets become consistent. And then we can take out the 3a minus 7b, and then all the rest. From here, the rest should be 3a minus 7b. And another item, the rest should be plus 4k. So after simplifying, the final answer should be this one. And again, another exercise here. You may wish to pause the video and take some time to do it, and then we may check the answer later. So I guess you have already taken some time. And here, obviously, we can take out the factor 3mn as the common factor, and then all the rest are in the bracket. And similarly, for question 6, the common factor should be 4, and then all the rest are in another bracket. So now let's come to another method called factorization by grouping. As we have already learned that we need to take out a common factor in certain factorization. But sometimes before we can take out the common factor, we need to do some grouping first within the terms. Let's say in example 1, at the first glance we do not know which one should be the common factor, as 4 terms are quite similar. All of them have 2 letters. But after grouping abn plus am, and then minus bn and minus mn, we can see that both b and m could be the common factor. And of course, you need to do it by trial and error. Might be when you group these 2 terms together, you see that ab and minus mn have no common factor with am and minus bn, so you would rearrange. And then after grouping b plus m as the factor here, and then for another term you take out minus n, the bracket should be b plus m, not b minus m, because minus times plus would equals to minus. So we would put the plus sign inside the bracket. And then quite obviously here, this is the common factor b plus m. And then the final answer should be like this. And for example 2, we can see from here already these two can be seen as two different groups. Because when you take out 2n, here it gives n minus 3. And then when you take out 5, here it gives n minus 3 as well. So n minus 3 can be the common factor. And then here should be the final answer. So in other words, for doing the grouping, sometimes you need to try once or twice before you can get the correct order in order to take out the common factor. And here is another two examples. Again, at the first glance, we do not know which one should be the common factor, but we can try the grouping. Because 12xy and plus 4y, we cannot take out any common factor with 3x plus 1. So we would rearrange 12xy plus 3x and then 4y plus 1. You can sense that here you can make it into something 4y plus 1 after taking out 3x. So obviously this could be the common factor. And then this is the final answer after simplifying it. And again, for example 4, we would rearrange 14ab plus 7a and then minus 2b minus 1. Because we can sense that this one is 2 times 7. Because 14 is 2 times 7, so might be this could be in relationship with something about 2b and 1. So after trying, you can see that taking out 7a would give 2b and 1. And it is consistent with another bracket 2b plus 1. So this is the final answer after taking out the common factor. And the rest, 7a minus 1, will be in another bracket. So here is another exercise. You may pause the video and try. And again, before you try, you can use trial and error. See which two partners could be grouped together in order to give a common factor altogether. So I guess you have already done your steps. Here is the answer. First of all, we will group mk and minus 4m together, and then nk minus 4n. Because after trying the first two terms, you see that there's nothing much we can do to take out any factor from here. And also here, we seldom can take out anything from here. So we would rearrange. And by grouping these two terms together, we can take out m, and then it would give rise to k minus 4. Here we can take out n. Again, we can give rise to k minus 4 as another bracket. So obviously k minus n is the common factor. And then this would give the final answer like this after simplifying. And for question 2, probably there are more than one method to do it, because you can sense that for the first two terms you can also take out a, and then it would give rise to the bracket 6k plus a. And if you take out here, take out b, it will give rise to a plus 6k as well. If you use the minus sign outside the bracket. But here is the method we can also use when you group 6ak minus 6bk and then a squared minus ab. You can see that simply taking out 6k, it would give rise to a minus b in this bracket. For the other two items, you take out a, and then it will give rise to a minus b. So altogether, it's quite obvious that a minus b is the common factor. And then the rest will be in another bracket. So here is the final answer. So from these two examples or questions, you can see that sometimes there is only one way to do grouping and factorization. Sometimes there can be two ways. So you can use trial and error to check that whether two methods can give rise to the same answer, then you would know that the answer is correct. So, another exercise. It looks like a little bit complicated, but actually the method is the same. So you may take some time to do it. So I guess you have already paused the video and do your steps. Here is the answer. Here at the first glance, we can already it's quite clear that A should be one group and SXB could be another group. So this example is quite obvious. We can take out A and then x plus y minus z. And even by a mental calculation, you can already sense that, okay, x, y minus z is the pattern here. Here is also x, y minus z. So mentally, you can already do the grouping. And then after taking out the common factor, x plus y minus z, it gives rise to another bracket of a plus 6b. So this should be the final answer. But sometimes it's not so obvious that it's two big group. Let's say in question 4, it's not too obvious from here, but still there looks like a pattern that two can be in a group, because you can sense that it seems that b minus 1, here also you can see something like b minus 1, here also b minus 1. You can sense that b minus 1 can be a possible common factor. So you can try. By looking at these two items, after taking out 10a squared, it really gives rise to b minus 1. Here, taking out a, it gives rise to b minus 1. And the final one is originally like this. So altogether, it would give rise to this final answer. Is b minus 1 is the common factor. And the others are in another bracket. So these two are further examples or exercise about groupings. You can see that sometimes there is no fixed pattern whether the grouping should be 3 items in a group or 2 items in a group. You can just try by your sense or mental calculation or trial and error by writing it out, and then finally you can get the right answer.